So, talk to us about collective impact. Why is your focus on nonprofits of color?
It's a great question, Lisa B. So, collective impact, it's not a new terminology. It's actually a common business terminology, which means a group of individuals working together for a common goal to solve a problem, right? So, we are in business, and every successful business should aim to solve problems, right? So collective impact solves the problem of lack of representation in the nonprofit sector on both sides. So there are 1.5 million nonprofit registered nonprofits in America, right? And of that 1.5, only 150,000 are led by people of color, right? And then on the other side of that, you have only 18% of the population of those who work for nonprofits of color. So we're solving the problem of um, expanding nonprofits of color, right? We want them to not just be local. We want them to develop the framework that can be duplicated so that they can go national, like the well-positioned organizations, right? And then on the other side, you have these nonprofit professionals who have the experience, who have worked in the industry, have gotten $1 million, have budgeted $1 million budgets, marketing campaigns, all of this experience that the nonprofits of color need so that they can grow. So we're bringing those two together, right? Because the consultants, those the professionals, nonprofit professionals, excuse me, they are in a environment where they don't feel valued, right? They don't feel they feel like the token. You know, we got all this DEI stuff going on, and no one wants to feel as if, and I'm speaking from experience because I have worked for nonprofits and I have been one of only person of color there, you know, and you're like, I'm great at marketing. I'm not the black marketing chick, right? So we are creating a safe space for the professionals to be empowered, to know that they're not a token person in that profession. And then we are helping the nonprofits of color succeed so that they can maximize their impact on the communities that they serve and represent.
That's amazing. And I was like, I'm not even going to try to touch on that because I know you was going to bring with the fire and tell us what it was all about. Um, in my research, now I know about some nonprofits of color, and we know about the big ones. We know about United Negro College Fund, and there's some other ones that I can't even think of off the top of my head. But
Right.
there's no, there's no like, I want to contribute to a nonprofit of color. Where do I go? It's kind of like you don't know. And I think it's great that you have this one umbrella where people can go to and they can, number one, if I have a nonprofit of color, you're there to help support me as a nonprofit and give me some support or some advice. And it's not just you running this. Talk to us about like what's the collective part?
Absolutely. So there are what is called nonprofit operations, right? So those are the people who do the grant writing, that do the HR, that do the strategic planning. So we have individuals that do that. We have a wonderful Dr. Bev Browning. Like, she's been writing grants for over 40 years. She has budgeted and got funding for $1 million projects. So we have a few grant writers. We got Miss Chica, and then we have accounting, because financing, nonprofit operations, so grant writing, program design, strategic planning, and then we have the financial side, right? Because nonprofits need a CPA. So we have a Mr. Andrew Melton from Detroit, Michigan, and that's the beautiful thing too. And I'm sorry, Dr. Bev Browning, she's in Phoenix, Arizona. So we're all around, right? Because of this new virtual space that we're in now, right? And then we have another woman who is from Colorado, And then we have a marketing side as well. So that's myself, Tiana Anderson, Angelica Miller. I feel like and we have the leadership development, which is Dr. Sherman Green. He's in Mississippi. So in our network is constantly expanding as well. And our goal is to have a representation in every state of our lovely country. So that is, I'm just the marketing side of it. And then the community liaison part is I am the go-between between the maker, so to speak, right, with the nonprofits. And then I speak with them, and then I know who to refer them to based on their needs, their personality. Like, it's a whole vetting system that goes into that, because we want Black excellence, right?
Right.
So we take our time in matching the right organization with the right consultant.
So as I was doing my research, I read that nonprofits of color face many challenges. Can you touch on some of the things that you've seen or experienced for nonprofits of color?
Absolutely. So our whole mission is to help nonprofits of color overcome internal and external barriers, preventing them from being successful. So an example of an internal barrier would be most leaders of color. They are working a full-time job and they are self-funding their organization, right? So that's a big internal barrier, because they're doing everything themselves and they don't have the funding to hire other people. And so that tends to, people tend to get burnout, and then they just kind of let the thing go because it's like, it's too much to do on my own. And then you got these wonderful missions with people who are super passionate. A lot of our network of nonprofits, they're usually affected by the social cause that they are working for, directly or indirectly, right? So they got the passion, they got the heart for it. But again, a nonprofit is a business and it needs to be run as such. So there's a lot of backhand things that need to be done. So that's another internal barrier, is the lack of understanding, the lack of leadership, the lack of support in community. You know, I myself am a nonprofit leader as well, so I understood the barriers. I am the target market, right? So I understood my struggles as well, right? So I would go to training and I would be like the only Black person in the room, right? And then I felt like I didn't get the attention, or no one was passionate about my mission, because our mission is to help African-American communities, right? So I'm in this room, the only person of color, and I'm talking about, oh, our organization is to help empower men and women, you know, and they're like, So, you know, I felt alone. I didn't have community. I didn't have a mentor. I was paying for everything myself, right? Because and sometimes you don't know what you don't know yet. And then another internal barrier is just like not having your ducks in a row, right? When people get that IRS determination letter, like 8 times out of 10, the first thing they do is do a website.
Yeah.
You have no foundational plan. You don't have a business development plan. You don't even know who your board is going to be. You know what I mean? Like, there is a lot of internal. And when you find your board, what does that process look like?
Right.
Like, walk us through that process from them showing interest, and then who do you need? Who's going to be on your board? Why did you choose them? You know, so there's a lot of foundational things, and that's the internal barriers. And then an external barrier would be like philanthropic redlining, right? So we know there's politics in everything. So it's no different in the nonprofit sector. They just, the well-positioned organizations, I think it's 86% or 80%. I may be wrong, but it's in the 80s, right? It's a high percentage of the board of directors. So the board of directors are the ones that make the decisions for the nonprofit. So that's a very important step, right? You need a solid working board. But in the well-positioned nonprofit organizations, 80%, I think, of them are Caucasian males over the age of 60. right? And then you think about all of the flyers and the packaging and the videos that you see. You know, you got these white Caucasian males making decisions for these nonprofits that are serving little chocolate babies and Latino babies, you know, but they're all in the picture, but they're not represented in the organization or on the board, right? So the representation is the whole thing. I'm not even going to get into that, but we are here to help. Yeah. You know, I get real, you know, upset about that, and especially like right now with all of the COVID funding that has been just everywhere. But I can't wait, and I'm actively looking for the data on this. How much of that funding went to nonprofits of color, right?
Yeah.
Right. And then part of it is our part too. You know, you have to be able to say what my mission is. This is who we help. You can't be like, I want to save kittens and feed vets. Pick one, right? And do that well, right? Because we help with this. That's why the strategic planning is important, because you need to be able to tell those the funding, what you're doing, how many people you're going to impact, what is that? You got to walk people through that, right? So we have the tools and the information available in our app, the Collective Impact app, for them to do themselves, or our network of consultants are available to hire to do it for them.
Okay, that's amazing, and that's good to have, because I know of some people that are like, I want to help, and I'm like, that's great, and they just get to helping and give me donations, and it's like, okay, so what are we doing? You know, what's your mission? Is it clear? You know, so and we don't want to bust the balloon on what you want to do as a nonprofit. We're not trying to do that. It's just that we're trying to get you some more money. You know what I mean? So we're trying to get you to help. And then you touched on the board. And the board is so important, because nonprofits of color, the board can make you or break you.
Listen,
the board,
don't having your cousin and your auntie.
Don't get grandmama, don't get big mom, don't get big mom, don't get Uncle Joe. Get some people on your nonprofit board that are going to be able to take you to the next level and help you as a nonprofit. Get you some money, get you some grants, get you exposed so your nonprofit can grow. Don't get your friend. Unless your friend is like that and can get you to where you need to be. Hey, what do you think nonprofits of color need to compete or survive against other nonprofits?
So there's not really competition in the nonprofit sector, right? I feel like a lot of organizations should collaborate, especially of color, should collaborate. I'm sorry.
Why do you think they should collaborate?
They should collaborate because when you are applying for funding, the funders, they're looking for an investment, right? If they give you this money, they need to know when, where, how, who, and where it's going, right?
Right.
So if you collaborate with another organization, so I bring my community, you bring your community, Lisa, Angel bring her community, just as I am community. Guess what? Now we're helping more people. Just if I did, right? So funders love to see that because it's about impact.
Yes.
It's not about hosting events. It's about programming. It's about long-term sustainable impact for the community that you serve, and you have to show that. So Lisa B, you got your 300 people. I got my 300 people, and Angel got her 300 people. Now we're not just helping 300 people. Now we're helping 900 people.
Right. Say that again. It's not about the events. Can somebody?
See, you got me. You go get me. I mean, I get it.
Please touch on that.
I get it though. I get it. Like, you know, you got to be a special kind of person to like structure and to see it through the end. You know, obviously you and I are that type of person, and you're great to have on the board, right? but it's not as sexy, it's not as exciting programming. But programming is about that long-term effect, right? And then two, events, you spend so much money. You raising all this money, you busting your tail to get the grants and the funding, the earned income or whatever you're getting just to host an event, right? Why? Well, you know what I mean? It's like you gotta think long-term. And I think that there is something that we need to work on in our community. Right? It's not just about right now. Like you have to be able to be like, okay, this is where I am right now, but I need to take this step, and this step. And oh, I need Lisa B and I need Angel to do this because I'm not strong in that area.
Right.
We missing this part, you know, but she brings that, I bring this, and that's exactly what we do at Collective Impact. You know, like I said, I stay in the marketing. I know people, I know graphics, that's what I do, all that other stuff. We got very passionate people to do that as well.
Right. I like that. It's about community. And don't be so, well, this is mine. And, you know, I want to do what I want to do. You got to be able to open it up.
Let it go.
We're going to start singing.
Yeah, you know, because at the end of the day, you know, one thing that I feel is that when God gives you a vision, He's also going to provide the provision. And that comes in people, and that comes in resources. And even on top of that, that comes with stewardship, right? Are you stewarding what you have well? Is there a solid foundation? You know, can this multiply? Will this be fruitful? You know what I mean? And if it's just about me, I want to do my book bag drive. Don't get me started on the book bag drives. I always get on the book bag drive. But I want to do my book bag drive.
Right.
At the end of the day, it's not about you. I want to leave this world. Personally, I want to leave this world better for my son. It should be about legacy, right? Because that is success. When you can leave something that can live beyond you, right? If you're doing it by yourself, it's not going to live beyond you. It's going to stop with you, right? So working together, collaborating with purpose, right? That's so important. We have a full course for nonprofit leaders of color in our app, Collective Impact, and it's called Impact Academy. And we have a course in there called Collaborating with Purpose. So what does that look like? That looks like knowing what you bring to the table and then looking for other people to bring that missing piece to the table. And we all work collectively for the greater good.
See, now you just, you know, you up here preaching. you up here telling the truth, but that's so true. We have got to work together and leave a legacy. So true. So, you know, what do you think? Can you just briefly go into how someone would even create a nonprofit, you know, and what advice would you give them? You know, I know a lot of people are like, girl, I'm gonna just, the kids need lunches, so I'm just gonna start raising money to get lunches. It's a process. You just can't go, I mean, you can. I'm not gonna say you can't. But if you want to be out there as a true nonprofit and get money and get support and get funding, there are steps that you need to go through. Can you touch on what some of those steps are?
Absolutely. I love this question. So the short answer to this is that you will file a 1023 easy form with the IRS, right? That gets you your tax exemption status. Of course, you would, whatever your name is for your organization, you would do that at your state Secretary of State website. And then you'll file your 1023 easy form and attach your articles of incorporation. So what is that? That's pretty much saying this is what our mission This is who we serve. This is where we serve. This is why we serve. And then this is who is a part of our organization. So that's the short end version of that. But a lot of people get to that part and then they get that IRS determination letter and they're like, oh, what do I do now? So that's where collective impact comes in, but that's a whole nother story. So my advice would be, that's awesome. You have a passion, you see a problem, that's incredible. You see a problem. Some people are like, oh, somebody should do something about this. You know, so I love people who actually are the go-getters, right? They go do something. They don't just talk about wait for somebody else to make that happen. So a great thing would be to do is to do your research, research the target market you want to help, right? Research the whole nonprofit sector. What's going on? What does that look like? What do I need to run a successful nonprofit, right? Then when you do that, then you have something to present. Create that business development plan, right? So that is how we're going to raise money, what our mission is. It's the fund raising, social media marketing plan. It is all of that. Do all of that first, right? And you'll get that from your research. And then start to think, okay, strategically. I don't like to say strategically because I don't like to say strategic. Collaborate with purpose, right? So, you know, for a board, you need at least 3 people for a quorum, right? So that's usually president, secretary, and then treasurer, right? Those are your solids. You need those at least to run your organization. So for your treasurer, get someone with a financial background, get a CPA, not Uncle Terry, you know what I mean? Bless his heart, but not Uncle Terry, right? Right. And then, you know, who has great leadership, who is another go-getter, make things happen. That's your president, right? And who is very good with administrative stuff. That's your secretary, right?
Right.
So when you've done all of this research, you know what you're going to do. You're able to communicate what you're going to do. Then you can find people to share your vision with, because you can tell them what you're going to do because you're very clear about what you're going to do.
Right.
And then you go from there. And then I would say, don't do the articles. I don't file it yet. Do it collectively with your board. The people fine, because a lot of people, they build it, that whole build it and they will come. That's okay to a certain extent, but not in a nonprofit. We bring that entrepreneur, that hustle mentality, because you know there's levels to entrepreneurship, right?
Yes.
You bring that to this. You can't bring that to this nonprofit world. You will burn yourself out trying to be the secretary, the president, the board, the CEO, the grant writer. You know what I mean? There are people that do that, right? So that's what I would say. Do your research. And also, please, for the love of God, all things good in life. When you find that organization, so say you want to help youth, right?
Yeah.
So find an organization that's similar to what you want to do, right?
Okay.
Go volunteer for them. Go serve on their board. That way you can understand the backhand, all of that that's going on within the organization to make that decision. Do I want this life?
Yeah.
Do I want this life?
Idea.
Can I have this life? And guess what? Remember I said the board of directors makes the decisions. So you sitting on this board, now that idea you have for a nonprofit, that can be a program for the organization that you're volunteering for.
Yeah.
You start a whole nother organization. Do you know that there are over 50,000 registered nonprofits in the state of Ohio?
No.
Just in Ohio. Lord, for the love of God, please find someone that you collaborate. It ain't got to be about, oh, this is my organization. It's not. Guess what? It's no one's organization. It's the community's organization. It's the community, okay? That's what it's about. It's about the little 3-legged kittens, not about Lisa B, not about Rashaunda, right? And I'm not saying this in a condescending way, but I'm saying this as lovingly as I know how, because in our community, we got this whole I got to get it out the mud mentality.
Yeah.
And I rebuke that. Listen, our generation is breaking that cycle because there's so much time lost. I mean, people, I know some strong heart, and then we got that badge of strong. We got to get it out the mud so that we can show that we strong. Strong has put people in the hospital.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we don't have to suffer unnecessarily. Right. Work together.
Right. I love that. I had to steal that snippet and put it up there.
The whole tangent. I have to get myself calmed down because I don't want to be like, cussing people out. But again, I was that target market. I know. I made so many mistakes. I made so many unnecessary mistakes that could have been prevented if I had mentorship, if I had community, and if I would have just reached out to somebody else to do it, So I know.
Yeah. And to touch on the mentorship, y'all, can we just all get along? I hate to steal Rodney King's words, but sometimes when you ask for mentorship, people don't want to mentor.
Ooh, can I go?
I think that's another show. And I'm just going to leave. It's like if we are supposed to be a community and lift each other up and work together, let's just truly do that. Let's just work together. Let's be a community because somebody had to help you. You didn't do this all by yourself. Even if it was the grace of God that helped you, somebody helped you. Okay. So, if you're going to be a mentor, do that. Be a mentor. And that's all I'm going to say on that. All right. So
can I just piggyback on that?
Go ahead, piggyback on that.
You're right. Mentor. That's great. Share the wealth, share your information, right? The most richest place in the world is graveyard, right? Because people take stuff with them when they do it.
Yeah.
So God created us all to be leaders. We're all leaders, right? Despite what society tries to tell you, we all are leaders in our own right. Okay. Yeah. So understanding and knowing that, you shouldn't feel threatened by anyone. You shouldn't think that anyone is going to take anything from you because what is for you is for you. But on the other side of that, we got to get out of our mind this whole, I feel like we have this whole movie in our head of what mentorship should look like. Oh, we meet on Sundays. We have coffee. You ask me about this. You give me homework assignments. Look, first of all, we all grown here. Yeah. Okay. And, and mentorship doesn't have to be that formal. Because like you said, we don't know what that person had to go through and is going through to get to that place that they are. Correct. They might be going out their mind. You might not know what they are, that cross that they are bearing to be in that position, right? So most of my mentors didn't even know they was my mentors, Lisa B. They didn't even know it. They did not know it, but I would watch them. I would watch how they handle people. I would watch how they mentored people. I would watch how they managed their time, how they treated people. I would watch them from afar because you can talk all you want, but what the fruit look like. You got to thump that melon. You know, so I'm thumping that melon from over here like, oh, I see you. I see you. So we have to be open to not to think it has to look a certain way. Right. I feel like I'm mentor. People mentor me every day and they don't even know. My 15-year-old son teaches me stuff. You know what I mean? So you just have to have that teachable spirit and don't nobody owe you nothing. I said it, Lord Jesus. Don't nobody owe us nothing though.
That's
right.
True. That's
they don't owe us nothing, especially with the nonprofits. You get that IRS determination letter. Guess what? No one owes you anything either. Right. And I say that so lovingly. That's awesome. But you have to steward over what you have. You have to take initiative We got to stop waiting for somebody to do stuff for us. And then, because when it don't happen, oh, we got something to complain about. Oh, well, no. Change, pivot, be open-minded, do things a little different than the so-called norm. But that's my thing on mentorship. But if you need some mentors, the Collective Impact community is here for you.
They're there for you. They're there for you. So let's talk about you. Let's touch on your entrepreneurial journey, and can you give us some insight on how you got to where you are today?
Absolutely. So I like to say I'm a simple woman, right? I love God, I love people, and I love business. So everything that I ever touch or have been a part of has been centered around those values, right? It's very important to know your values, and then you can move accordingly, right? So my first business was photography and marketing, right, in the Black studios. And my first job, I'm a Air Force veteran, right? So my first job in the military was public affairs, and that's pretty much the media installation for military installation, right? That's the media for the military installation. So that's when I first learned a lot of things. The military taught me so much. It taught me that we can do so many great things when we all are joined together, not having to be the driver all the time. You know, I'm a reservist, I'm in the Guard, and, you know, sometimes I outrank people and sometimes people outrank me, right? So being able to pivot, not always having to be in charge all the time, and how beautiful leadership is, and what effective leadership can do to an environment, right? A lot of people work in toxic environments, you know, with this whole pandemic. A lot of people have quit their jobs because, you know, they're like, I need my peace of mind, right? So that's one of the components of collective impact. That's why we have the leadership development, because, you know, yes, God created us all to be leaders, but it's a skill that needs to be cultivated. So military, then I got my degree from the Art Institute in Advertising and Marketing. And then I started my own business and worked in the community, served on boards. Like I said before, started a nonprofit, and that is such a great story. If you would love to hear that, I'm not going to go into that because we'll be here all day, Lisa B. But you can download the app, and with the letter from Rashaunda, I go into my experience as a nonprofit leader. So, yep, I got a son, awesome son, 15-year-old son, and I got two fur babies, Max and Lily. So, love God, love people, love business, and that is everything that I do. Everywhere I go, I bring that, you know, and yeah, that's me.
That's you in a nutshell.
That's me.
So what was your aha moment? Like, this is it.
I've had so many of them. So I think we talked about this briefly when we talked the first time.
Yeah.
So listen, I had a whole come to Jesus moment during lockdown. Like, it was a beautiful situation for me. You know, heart goes out to everyone who lost lives and were impacted negatively by that. You know, I get that. And so I also feel blessed for the time and the opportunity just to be still, right? I was definitely a Martha, and in that time I got to be a Mary, right? Just sitting still at God's feet, right? And in that, you know, it was a lot of revelation that I got because I was still, right? Sometimes we keep moving so much, we don't have time to think things through. And I just realized in that time that there was no grace with what I was doing, right? That I had got only a small part of what he wanted to give me and do through me. I took that small part and I was like, oh, I got it, Lord. I'll come back when I need you. I'll be back. But thank you. This is great, right? So I have to work with nonprofits. So I just started one, right? And I had at that time, I had to be still and then to just listen, right? Because even so, you know, all of the things that I learned, all of the mistakes that I made, you know, I can sit on it and be like, oh, you know, and then learn from it and keep it for myself. But what about all those other organizations, right? Our organization is just one. There are a lot of organizations in the same place that I am. So to take my story, my testimony pretty much, and help other nonprofit leaders, because it's about us people, right? Also in that time, I really fell in love with the book of Nehemiah. And listen, if you are a nonprofit leader, that's the blueprint right there. What Nehemiah did, he had all these different people that with one goal. Definitely, he was drawing me to read that. So a lot happened to me. And then on top of that, the organization that I had worked for, they had closed their program.
Mm-hmm.
So thank God I have the military as a guardsman, right? My civilian job let everybody go. But the guard, we take care of our people, right? So they had sent us out to work at the food banks in our local community.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was there, and I'm in a military status now, I've never been in a nonprofit in the military status, right? Because I was usually part of all the madness
Right.
going on, you know. But I was sitting back and I was like, so many revelations. And I began to recognize patterns. I began to recognize patterns, and I began to see the outcomes of those patterns. And it just blew me away. And I said, Lord, you ain't even playing in this season, are you? You gonna put me in it too. So that was definitely the aha moment to bring collective impact to part, and you know, to help nonprofit organizations treat their people better, right? Because it's this whole bias, like, oh, we can't pay you because we a nonprofit. That's a lie from the pit of hell, right? You just ain't stewarding over what you have. You're not doing it right, because there are organizations, and we've seen them in the news, y'all,
Mm-hmm.
of these CEOs and these programs. It's a lack of knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
especially in communities of color, to know how to do that the right way.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. So, and then on your entrepreneurial journey, what did you know about yourself which you don't know? I'm going to rephrase that. On your entrepreneurial journey, what do you know about yourself now that you didn't know 5 years ago?
There are levels to entrepreneurship.
Mm.
Right? And you have to recognize what season you are in. You have to be humble enough to be like, okay, this is not serving anymore, or pivot, or whatever you need to do. Just recognize what season you are, and you can't bring the mentality from the other season into this new season, right?
Right.
So that's one thing. And then just all things work together for good. You know, I look back, I'm trying not to get emotional because I got these lashes on. But listen, look, I got somewhere else to be after this.
Girl, save
Look, I know, like, right. But crying is beautiful. It's okay to cry, but just not right now. But all things work together. And I think about my life and how, you know, everything that I did all led up to this moment, you know? And the things that bothered me, I think it was Sarah Jakes Roberts said that whatever annoys you or frustrates you, that's your purpose. Like that's in you to solve, you know? Right? It's so beautiful, right? Every time I say it, it gives me chills.
That's kind of profound right there.
Listen, it really spoke to me too, because I was like, oh my goodness, like, and when I was at that you know, in the military status, and I was like, do y'all see this? Like this, and they're like, what are you talking about? I'm always like, does it not bother you? Like, wait, what? Why is that like? And they're like, what is wrong with her? No one cares. But I cared, right?
Right.
Because I was supposed to care, right?
Right.
So just all things work together. And then we think that failure is the opposite of success, which is not. Mm-hmm. Failure is a component of success.
Oh.
Right.
Okay.
So you are going to fail. You're going to fail. I'm the first generation entrepreneur in my family and a nonprofit founder. It's like almost arrogant to just think that I would know how to do this.
Right.
I would, like I would get it right the first time. Like, no, you're not. What do you do with those mistakes though, right? Like, do you sit there in it? Do you let it eat you up? Do you keep it, does it make you get stagnant, right? Because you're like, oh, well, I tried this one, that didn't work. No, look, and you gotta get a sense of humor. Sometimes I laugh at myself like, oh, that was bad, child. Let's not do that
right
again. Okay, and it's okay because you have to learn. And the last thing, you have to learn to separate what you do from who you are. When you make mistakes, you don't take it so personally.
Exactly.
And it's not like, oh, I can't.
Yeah.
I just made a mistake, right?
Mm-hmm.
Give yourself some grace. Like, that's not, my identity isn't in my product, my service, my app, my job. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. God is my source, right? So as long as I'm connected to him and I get my marching orders from him, I'm good.
Yeah. That is so, you've touched on so many things and you've dropped some bombs. I'm beyond the gym part. So we're past the gym stage on this show. You've touched on so many things because we can get in our own way. And then a lot of us, when we fail, we just chuck it up and we just like, well, I guess it didn't work out. But you can learn from those failures. You've got to take that. I always call it, we should be in a test and learn phase in our life, no matter what we do. We test, we learn, we take that in, and we keep it pushing. And so you do that with your business. You test, you learn, and if you're truly in it to win it, you're going to keep on going to win.
You're going to keep on fighting.
You're going to keep on fighting. You're going to fall and get your scabby knees. You might get a scar. You might get a little lump on your head. But you have got, if this is truly your passion and what you want to do, you're going to keep it going and keep it pushing. Because why? That's what you're supposed to be doing. That is your purpose. All right, we're going to get off that soapbox because I'm a pivot. What was your first side hustle?
Oh, this is so funny. So thank God for deliverance. When I was looking at this, I was like, man, I gotta be honest. You just gotta be honest. It's who I am. So always been into video games, right? And I'm a 90s baby. So when I was in high school, they had GoldenEye, which was 007, right, on the Nintendo 64. And so there was not a lot of girl gamers then, right?
Right.
And so I would just be like, oh, that we would bet on the games, right? Like there would be a pot on who would win, right? Mm-hmm. So I had a guy friend, and we kind of organized this whole thing, right? And he would take me wherever he was, right? And then I was like, I want to play, let me play, right? And then like, what's the shoot button again? Which one is it? And then I was just like taking everybody out with odd jobs. So that was actually
you were a gamer.
Hilarious. It's hilarious. Hilarious.
You gotta start somewhere. That's what I say.
Look. I saw an opportunity. There was a niche there, and I was like, I'm a girl. They don't expect me to kick their butt, but I did.
And hey, she a girl. She ain't gonna do nothing. There you go.
It was great. Wrong, but great.
Rashaunda, tell us, how can people get in contact with you with Collective Impact? How can they tell us where your social media channels are?
Absolutely. So if you are a nonprofit professional and you want to be in an empowering environment, a network of others who are helping nonprofits of color maximize their impact on the community, please reach out to me on LinkedIn. Our network is always expanding, so we can start that vetting process. And Rashaunda Williams, you'll see me, I'm in brand colors, yellow, that black and yellow, wherever you see that black and yellow, that is us. So please connect with me on LinkedIn at Rashaunda Williams. And on Instagram, we are Collective Impact 419, all one word. Our website is collective-impact.app. Oh, thank you. It's right there on the bottom. Yes, thank you. I don't even know my own handles. What's going on? And if you are a nonprofit leader of color and you need help in your branding of your nonprofit, we actually have a branding webinar coming up next Thursday. Follow us on Facebook for all that information. You can register and get your ticket for that as well, so that you can make an impact through your branding for your nonprofit. And then, yeah, website, Instagram, Facebook, Collective Impact Community. Download the app. It is available in the Google Play and the Apple App Stores. You'll get a community of other leaders just like yourself. You have access to myself and the rest of our network. You'll get free resources. We have an ebook called Resources Your Nonprofit Needs. You can download that. It has earned income. You shouldn't just depend on grants as a nonprofit. So there's earned income programs in there. And sponsorships and all these free technology and software things to kind of alleviate those expenses, especially when you're starting out. We add grant alerts as well, and then we do webinars and networking through that as well. Leaders of color, if you want to be interviewed, just like I reached out to Lisa B, y'all can reach out to me, and I would love to highlight all the impact and bring awareness to your organization. And that's also a mentorship opportunity too. So check out our Leaders of Color interview series, just to learn from people who are in your shoes and what they did to overcome it.
Thank you so much for being on the show. This was amazing. I mean, I hope this, and I know this will, I'm not even gonna hope. I know this is going to help or bless somebody that wants to start a nonprofit, or that may have started something and wants to take it to the next level and make it legit, make it a true nonprofit. Now they have somewhere they can go, somebody that can help them, somebody that can take what they're doing either at the church or out their basement or inside their living room, and the dining room table is covered with all this stuff, but you just got that fire in your belly and you want to start a nonprofit. Reach out to Collective Impact, because they're going to get you where you need to be.
Absolutely.
And help your nonprofit of color get right.
That's what it's about. It's about creating jobs and impacting lives, right? That's what your focus should be as a nonprofit leader.
Yes, absolutely. After the show, please reach out to Rashaunda Williams. She is an amazing, amazing person. What she's doing and what Collective Impact is doing is amazing. Please reach out to them, and let's get this community going, especially for nonprofits of color. Yes. As for me, you can follow me on Instagram. I'm almost at 1,000, y'all. Let's get this community popping. And now I got an announcement. I got you. We on YouTube.
Hey!
We on YouTube, y'all. So I just kicked off my YouTube channel last week, and I've got some of the interviews on there and some tips. And so as I'm growing all of this exclusive content, there'll be exclusive content just on YouTube. So you know what you need to do? You need to look at the post that's out there now that has me out there dancing, looking foolish, but that's okay. And it has me pointing saying, we on YouTube. You need to click that subscribe button and subscribe to my channel so we can grow Side Hustle Saturday on YouTube. Because let me give you a tip. There are not many Black entrepreneurship shows or tips that are on YouTube. So let's start one. Yeah. Let's have a Side Hustle Saturday, and let's just blow YouTube out the water. So follow me on YouTube, Side Hustle Saturday. I put the link in the description. There's a link in the About Me section. Click on that so you can follow me on YouTube. Again, Rashaunda, thank you so much for being on the show. I so appreciate you and what your organization, Collective Impact, is doing. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, little Lisa B. Thank you so much.
Little B. I'm gonna use that, little B.
Little B. Little B. Yeah, with that dancing. Put that right up there. That's your little B.
It's Side Hustle Saturday community. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for rocking with me. Like I said, follow me. Tell your auntie, tell your uncle, tell big mommy, tell nephew, tell sis. Follow Side Hustle Saturday on Facebook, on Instagram, and now on YouTube. And I will talk to you soon.